First at 9.
Just witnessing off the Colombo port from the News First building. A very good evening, I'm Shane Silva and you are watching Sri Lanka's only global news brand, News First.
I'm Stephanie Lazarus. Now Shane, Muslims across the world are celebrating Eid ul-Fitr today. Wishing you all a very happy Eid Mubarak. Let's take a look at the headlines.
Headlines on News First at 9.
Soil samples from the Ramadan area are directed for laboratory test today. America condemns the attacks that were carried out in a place of worship. WDJ SNV Ratna makes a statement on the competition of the provincial council election. A youth who was allegedly assaulted by police hospitalized in the Kalubowila teaching hospital. Muslims across the island celebrate Eid ul-Fitr today.
It has been 12 days since the people of Ramadan began their struggle to obtain clean drinking water.
News First toured the Ramadan area today as well.
On the 27th of last month, the residents of Ramadan launched a protest demanding clean water. The protests were eventually quelled on the 1st of this month when the military intervened. Officials pledged to provide a solution to the water crisis. The News First team was on location first and met with Venerable Tirupani Sridham Mathera, who launched a fast calling for a solution to the water crisis.
මගේ ආරක්ෂාවට ලොකු තර්ජන තියෙන විත්තිය මම පැහැදිලිවම දන්නවා.
I clearly know that there is a threat to my safety. I only have the security provided by the general public who face this injustice. I am a person who is dedicated to the people, so I have received their security. I do not fear anyone. No one or no force will be able to suppress me or the general public.
ඒ නිසා මොනම జగතෙකුට බලවතෙකුට බලවේගයකට නිලයකට තලයකට මාවවත් මගේ මහජනතාවවත් යටත් කරන්න පුළුවන්කමක් නැහැ.
Meanwhile, steps have been taken to provide clean drinking water until a permanent solution is provided for the water crisis in the area.
Every day we tie a piece of cloth here. This is the amount of dirt that is collected each day. They say it's from the water board. We realize that this is not suitable for drinking. We do not know where this water is coming from. We don't take much water from the tank because it is unclean. It is hard for us to believe this water is clean because the cloth used as a filter becomes yellow each day.
We took water from here one day. We couldn't drink it. We use water from our well for cooking purposes. Water from our wells are cleaner than this water.
This is a well located in the Galalu area. Although water tanks have been set up as a temporary solution with water being supplied from bowsers, when we toured the area today, we saw that many people still use water from wells.
The pH level of the water here is close to 5, so we come here to bathe and wash our clothes. We cannot drink water from the well in our house. We begin to feel discomfort in our stomach and chest when we do so. Since the water is constantly flowing here, it is a bit better.
Meanwhile, our cameras also captured the man in wet. Workers of the National Water Board were laying pipes to provide tap water. Meanwhile, the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau notes the soil samples collected from the area surrounding the factory in Ramadan, which was at the center of controversy, has been sent for tests. Director General of the Bureau, Anil Piris, noted that soil samples have been collected from areas which are less than 3 kilometers from the location of the factory. He added that once laboratory tests are completed, they would be able to identify whether any chemicals have mixed with the soil. Anil Piris went on to note that these investigations would provide a clear picture as to whether allegations that the factory is directly linked to the water pollution is true or false. The Geological Survey and Mines Bureau notes that investigations would be completed within 3 weeks.
Meanwhile, General Secretary of the JVP, Tilvin Silva, expressed these views on the incident in Ratapaswala during a seminar in Gampaha yesterday.
Usually there's a tradition in our country. Even if an enemy asks for water, we give it to them. Everyone requests for a glass of water when they enter a house. Or if someone comes to your house, the first thing you ask is if they want any water. Our people never even shot an animal who was drinking water. This was the tradition of our country. The government shot people who asked for water. Now they are speaking various lies to cover this up. They are spewing out blatant lies. They say various parties are carrying out investigations. They say the army is carrying out investigations. This is a decision taken by the government. There is a reason behind this decision. We witnessed the manner in which people got into the streets to demand their rights. They fired at the protesters to intimidate them and to send the message to them not to get onto the streets to protest. This is what the government wanted. Now they are trying to cover it up because it has become a major issue. Will a government which turns a peaceful protest into a war by using the army provide democracy to the people of the north? This is what we need to think about.
Journalists raised questions about the incident that unfolded in Valleyvaria that resulted in 3 deaths at the US daily press briefing yesterday.
Sure. On Sri Lanka, have you seen news reports about the killing of 3 unarmed people because they were holding demonstrations and by the Sri Lankan army, and also desecration of a church in the city of Valleyvaria?
We have, and I do have something on that for you.
And how do you assess the human rights accusation against the Sri Lankan army? It hasn't improved. It looks like they...
One moment, Lola. I know I have something on this for you in here. Well, Lalit, I know that I have something for you, so let us venture to get that to you right after the briefing, and I apologize for that.
Meanwhile, a report published on the Press Trust of India notes the United States is concerned over the shooting incident in Valleyvaria.
U.S. State Department spokesperson Jen Psaki said that the United States offers its condolences to the families of the deceased and injured and continues to urge all sides to exercise restraint and respect the right to protest. Jen Psaki added that the U.S. has expressed its concern to the Sri Lankan government. She said, quote, "We are particularly concerned by reports that people seeking refuge in a Catholic church were attacked. There is never any excuse for violence, particularly in a house of worship."
In other local news, a mechanic claims that he had been assaulted and injured by a police officer in Piliyandala. The individual who had sought treatment at the Columbus South Teaching Hospital left the hospital this afternoon.
The alleged assault victim, identified as Mahinda Ratnayaka, is a resident of Devananda Mawatha, which is located opposite the Piliyandala police station. The father of one states that the assault took place while he was returning home from work at a garage in the Bandaragama, Batuwandara area.
It was around 10:45 in the night when I was returning home from work. I was around 500 meters away from my home when 3 policemen suddenly appeared from a byroad. I swerved as I thought I would knock into the first of the policemen. When I did so, the second policeman hit me with something that felt like a weapon. It was dark. I could not see. This road is referred to as the cemetery road. It was dark in that area. They jumped onto the road in this area. I heard the sound of a whistle. Nobody indicated to me to stop. Something hit my hand. I felt my hand break at that time. I could not stop the bike. I went with the momentum until the bike stopped. A friend of mine and a relative of mine came behind me. They stopped and picked me up. When we went to where the incident took place, there was no one there. We immediately called 119 to report the incident. Thereafter, they took me to hospital and I made a complaint. The police came and took a statement from me.
ඊට පස්සේ තමයි පිළියන්දලට ගිහිල්ලා මාව මේ හොස්පිටල් නවත්තලා ගිහිල්ලා එන්ට්‍රි එකක් දැම්මේ යාළුවෝ දෙන්නම. පොලිසියෙන් ඇවිල්ලා කට උත්තරයක් ගත්තා.
Those who were travelling on a motorbike behind the victim told us what they saw.
බයිසිකලේ අපි ඉස්සරහට යද්දී අපේ බයිසිකලෙට ඉස්සරහට
There was a bike travelling in front of us. There were 3 policemen in uniform. We saw one of the policemen hit the person travelling on the bike with the weapon. We immediately got a vehicle and took the person to hospital.
ආදට පැනලා එයාගේ අතේ තිබ්බ ආයුධයෙන් වේපන් එකෙන් පහල දුන්නා. අවටක් ගාලා අපි වාහනයක් ගෙනෙලා වාහනේ දාගෙන කළුබෝවිල හොස්පිටල් එකට ගෙනිච්චා.
The director of the Colombo South Teaching Hospital, Dr. Asela Gunawardena, stated that the victim left the hospital this afternoon. When we made inquiries in this regard, police media spokesperson SP Buddhika Siriwardena stated that investigations have commenced in this regard. He stated that a report had been made by the policeman manning a roadblock in Piliandala that 2 motorcyclists had disregarded an order to stop.
Tonight on the segment Words of Wisdom, we bring you the thoughts of Thomas Jefferson, the author of the Declaration of Independence and the 3rd President of the United States of America.
It is more dangerous that even a guilty person should be punished without the forms of law, that he should escape. Thomas Jefferson, former US President.
Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka YK Singha met with the chief prelates of the Malwatu and Askiri chapters today.
The Indian High Commissioner first met with the chief prelate of the Malwatu chapter, Most Venerable Tibbatuawe Sri Sumangala Thero. Thereafter, YK Singha also met with the chief prelate of the Askiri chapter, the Most Venerable Udugama Sri Buddharakkhita Thero.
My mission here will be to build on the very strong relations between India and Sri Lanka and build on the economic, trade and investment linkages that bind our 2 countries together. Perhaps there are no 2 other countries in the world that share such a close and symbiotic relationship.
The Indian Commissioner to Sri Lanka also attended religious observances at the Sita Eliya Kovila in Nuvarelia.
With the conclusion of the month of fasting, Muslims across the island celebrate the festival of Eid al-Fitr today.
The 9th month of the Islamic calendar is Ramadan, and fasting commences with the sighting of the first moon for that month. Fasting ends on the 10th month with the sighting of the new moon. The festive season of Ramadan is celebrated thereafter. The Eid ul-Iftar festival was celebrated at the Devatagah Mosque in Colombo this morning.
දුප්පතුන් හොයාගෙන ගිහිල්ලා ඒලාට උදව් උපහාර කරන්න එක තමයි විශේෂ වැදගත්කමක් තියෙන බව අපේ මුහම්මද් නබි නායකතුමා ඉතාම
that is the importance of the festival. That is why we
අල්ලාහ් තාලා ඒකයි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. එම් නිසා අපි සිටින්නේ මේ ඊදුල් ෆිත්ර් නෝම්බි අවුරුද්ද දිනේදී.
Meanwhile, religious observances were held at the Colombo Grand Mosque and Galle Fest this morning.
To be with peace and harmony, and Ya Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala protect all of us from all kinds of calamity.
Issuing a message to mark the Ramadan festival, President Mahinda Rajapaksa stated that the festival is a time of rejoicing in a renewal of faith, adding that the Muslims in Sri Lanka will be glad for the opportunity they have to carry out their religious observances without hindrance now that peace prevails in the country. The President added that this is in keeping with the tradition of tolerance and understanding among different religions that has been an important aspect of our culture and civilization. Meanwhile, Prime Minister D.M. Jayaratne in his Ramadan message says that the government will always strengthen the environment necessary for the Muslims to live by their religion and vision. Issuing a communique, the leader of the Democratic Party, Sarath Fonseca, said that he is happy to witness the Muslims from the north and the east who are victims of the 30-year-old war to be able to celebrate the festival with the rest of the Muslim community in the island.
News First at 9.